Hey, so a number of spiritual teacher types are talking about this lately, and I'm experiencing my own version of this. It's like you go through it and then you understand it, and then you find other people that are going through it too. So, um, what I experienced the other night, so I overheard a conversation about somebody else's financial decisions and then dealing with an illness and being in their 70s and oh, if we had only done this and this and made these other decisions, then we wouldn't be in this situation. And I kind of just went into I was like, oh my God, they're sane and normal people. And if they didn't make those decisions correctly, what hope do we have of making all these decisions correctly? And how can you know? And, facing old age and retirement and, all these things and the insecurity of our situation and our new move and all of that. And it just sent me into this place where I was like, we are just totally effed. And that just became my mantra. And I was not having anxiety about it. I don't think I was in an altered state. I think I was having a reckoning. And I was really looking at something in the face and just seeing the truth of it. And realizing that a lot, like I just kept saying, I don't have any more faith. This is a crisis of faith. I can't just surrender to God and say, oh, it's all going to be okay. Because on a certain level, there had been some magical thinking accompanying that faith and not really in touch with reality. And like God's totally okay with that. And I'm grateful to all the magic thinking. In fact, I almost bought a pumpkin at a thrift store today, a fake pumpkin that looked just like the Cinderella fairy godmother. And I was like, yeah, that should be my tribute to all the magical thinking and how wonderful it was for me for quite a while. I'm going to change the orientation again because my face is too dark. There, that's a little better. So, so anyway, I go deep into this. I take a long drive and I'm out there in the dark in a place I haven't really spent too much time in. And the voice of God comes through and he's like, so you think I'm not here? Like with you? And it wasn't a challenge. And it was just kind of like this reassurance of like, oh, God is here, even in my crisis of faith. And I just felt like I didn't feel better, like everything was going to be okay, but it was like, yeah, I'm remembering that God is here and that He's not unaware of this situation. So, that was helpful. And then the whole next day, I was just in this kind of crisis of faith, and I was just like without hope. It was just so much despair, and it was so dark and heavy. And I don't have the book around me right now, but this book that I've been reading is called Let Them. And my sister-in-law recommended it. And she's really good at letting you be wherever you're at, giving you helpful observations without feeling like she has to caretake you or, you know, whatever, cajole you into feeling differently. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to dump on anybody. And she's safe because she knows how to not be dumped on. And we talked for a couple of hours and ended up crying together at the end of it. And it was just so incredibly helpful. And it's like she just kept reflecting back to me, this is what you see, and this is where you are, and this is how it feels. And then the day just kind of gradually got better. And I think my kind of crisis sort of bumped Stuart into a different, better place. And it just opened up something between us. I don't know. And it's like the circumstances haven't changed, but I purged something. And the thing I wanted to talk about today with all of this is that if your back is up against the wall and you are in some kind of crisis and the bottom has dropped out financially or relationally or in some other way, maybe your health, and you just don't have any reserves anymore to try to make it okay or to be okay. That is exactly where you're supposed to be, and that is exactly what is required to bring the fear and the limiting beliefs up into our system. And just like when you're going through a physical detox, you give your body time to pull out all of these old stale boxes out of your storeroom. And when you do, they kind of flood your system and you feel sick for a while, and then you purge it out. And that is exactly what happened. It's not like I had any great insights or prayed about it or anything. It just bringing it into my awareness, it just left my system. And afterwards, there was so much more room to just be in the moment and say, okay, I'm just going to do what's right in front of me. And it really motivated me also to jump back into making videos and writing my book. I had made a commitment that living in this new place for the winter, I would finish my book. And because I had a couple of days off from this caregiving trade for rent that I'm involved in, I felt like, okay, I have my time to myself. So I took a bath, and I was so much more intentional and unapologetic about just being in my body and just taking up space and doing what I needed to do. And then when I got to the coffee shop and went into my book, and I'm just like, okay, just pick up where you left off and keep looking at stuff and doing edits. And I was reading my chapter called Old Unconscious Beliefs, like unconscious beliefs. When you set an intention, and the chapter is about manifesting a big thing. So the book is called Little Things, and it's about making really teeny tiny little adjustments so that you actually kind of unblock your own flow. You can sneak around some of the obstacles that you put up for yourself. But in this particular chapter, I was like, okay, let's think about a really big thing that you want to manifest. Like, why do I always drive a shitty car? How about if I manifest a big car? And then all of your old beliefs come up, and you find you're sabotaging yourself. And so that chapter just kind of gives you a minute to look at that. And an exercise that I created, which I'll share with you now, that has been so helpful to me. Say what you're trying to fix is your relationship with your partner, and it just feels wrong, and all this shit is happening, and you're just not happy. Start there. Like, maybe it's really hard to imagine things being better, but if you can throw that picture out there, great. And if you can't, you start where you are. So you write down maybe 7 statements about exactly what it feels like. I can't stand my partner. I rehash negative memories all the time. Whenever I think about him, I feel resentful. Um, he never brings me flowers. You can write whatever you want, even if it's like a you statement. He never does this and he never does that, and just let it all hang out. And then you have the opposite all set up to write out the list that is a mirror reflection of opposite. So you say, I just adore my partner. I feel really good about this. I find myself recalling really positive memories. I'm really excited about our relationship. He brings me flowers unexpectedly. I really appreciate everything he does and brings. And even if that's not true, you have begun the shift. And writing that out is a little thing that you can do. It's mechanical, it's physical. This is how it is, this is how it could be. And even if you don't see how that's going to happen, you have just cast your fishing line out into a different probability. And then it can begin to invite and manifest. And it might bring up deeper issues. It might bring up more stuff, but you've begun the process of getting to where you want to be. So right now, life is throwing up a lot of really difficult things for people. And I just have to say, having my second Saturn return right now, my astrologer just told me you have 5 really, really challenging aspects right now. And Pluto is opposing your Mercury. And she's like, I'm going to be Pluto for you right now. So I'm going to challenge a lot of your beliefs. And I see you doing this and this and this. And she's like, I know this isn't easy and this isn't comfortable, but this is me being Pluto in your life. And it wasn't comfortable, but I did appreciate it. And I could see how I've been working on these various themes my whole life, but I could see where I haven't really stepped through yet. And one of those things is really, really putting a deep value, a very high value on what I have to offer. And so, like, even though nobody's watching right now, I am affirming that I've got something important that I need to say that could make a difference to even just one person. And following through with that with that push, with that inspiration, with that feeling. That's a little thing that I can do to begin to really chip away at that belief that I don't have anything to offer. It's all been said already. And I'm beginning to feel a really deep shift in that way. And the thing is, about whatever it is we're going through, I think it's organic. I think there is an organic shifting that is available. I think there is so much help energetically available. And whether it's 3-eye atlas or the Schumann resonance or the vibration generally going up, I don't care. Whatever, I'll take it. Because it's making it easier to identify the crap stuff and to let it go and to step into the truth that's always been there. Isn't that the case with the truth? Yo am. Hey. So a lot of the things that we want to be true have always been true. So it's about realigning ourselves with something that's always been there. And just like when you're detoxing, you're getting rid of things that have been in the way. And I think the human is designed to be a vessel of incredible sensitivity, creativity, joy, um, beauty, and detoxing and pulling our energy back to ourselves can just get us to where our potential has always been. So something really interesting happened to me while I was driving. Okay, so earlier today, I listened to this video where this shamanic psychologist was talking about retrieving your energy from places that you've put it. And she's like, just visualize a little vacuum cleaner, and there's Instagram, and there's all that comparison that you've been doing, and just vacuuming it out, cleaning it off, filtering it, and then taking it back into your body. And, with past relationships, with, this, that, and the other. And so I was driving along, and this memory comes up that always comes up. Okay, I was born Jewish, but I'm a believer in Jesus Christ for over a year, and I really want to convert and be baptized already, but I've never been in a church yet. I need someone who can help me with that. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. And just imagine that someone is in your life and manifest it. So, yeah, that's great. You might be a bot, and that might be for real. And if it is real, I'm really excited for you. You're being drawn. You're being drawn by a larger force than you're aware of. So anyway, so I'm driving along, and as I'm turning around a median, like making a left turn, this memory comes up to me about how this was like over a decade ago, and Stuart was driving my car, and I wasn't in the car, but it was nighttime, and he missed the median, and he kind of rammed into it, and he did some damage to my car. And I was like, what the hell happened to my car? And I had that memory, and I thought, okay, I am done having my energy siphoned with that memory. And so all I did was just intend to pull my energy back out of that memory. Like, I can't change what happened. I'm not trying to change Stuart. And I'm not taking my energy back from him because he wasn't taking it. I was giving it to this situation and still feeling bad about it, giving my energy to it. And so I just pulled my energy back, just visualized pulling my energy back from that experience. And I just experienced this kind of momentary, lightweight elation. And I was like, wow, that energy, that much energy, enough to feel it, was wrapped up in that situation, and replaying that memory every time I go around a median, how that I was giving my energy to that. And if such a small event can be felt, I'm just thinking, what are all the other larger things that we're constantly giving our energy to that we really don't need to, including situations out there in the world that you can't change. So this book, Let Them, is about realizing the neurosis of trying to control events, what other people think. I would add your own internal process. We're always holding ourselves so tight and trying to edit and control and fix, and we're messing with ourselves. And it's like, let go. Let yourself have your response to something. Your wisdom and insight and intentionality can kick in, but stop trying to make something other than what it is, including a person. So, anyway, those are just some of my thoughts right now. And I just wanted to say, if you're going through a really hard time, if you're going through a purge, if you're going through your second Saturn return, there are a lot more astrological aspects that are going on right now that make this particular Saturn return really, really challenging. And kind of the universal feeling that I see, or not universal, but a thematic thing that is coming forward, is feeling like I am so effed. Look at all those bad decisions I made. Um, I feel powerless to change anything. And also a sense of despair and just like wanting to leave. And I'm seeing that being way more common than you would think it is. And it's not like everybody's suicidal, although there is some of that. It's just like, what the hell am I doing here? What is this about? What am I supposed to be doing? Why did I come here? And I think it's that we're outgrowing the matrix. And there's that feeling of like, it just feels so fake. It feels so contrived. And I think that we are at the crisis breakthrough moment on so many levels. And just be reassured, you're not alone. We are all going through a very, very deep purge of old beliefs. And this other thing that I wanted to say is, okay, I was having a conversation with Dela, and people were saying things like, this shouldn't be happening to me at this age. If you're ever hearing yourself say, this shouldn't be happening to me, well, it is happening. There is no should. You've come to Earth to grow. It's a school. It's difficult. And this is what you signed up for. And so stop trying to make it something it isn't, or feeling bad because it isn't. And what was the other thing? Yes. How much fear is actually living in your body that you're not acknowledging? How much are you actually attached to the idea that money is security, that prestige is self-esteem, that an external presence of something, even someone else's opinion, is equal to me feeling good about myself and my life and being able to be optimistic, creative, inspired, and hopeful? How much of you is really tied up in those externals? And when the bottom drops out and something gets taken away, like a sudden diagnosis or a relationship falls through or a living situation falls through, and there you are equal to that situation. But if you're freaking out, it's because you don't believe that you are. You believe you need such and such to be okay. And like God knows, we've been really, really, really intensely tested and challenged with this recently. And even though we are being taken care of and the universe has stepped in and we have this beautiful place, there's still all those old beliefs that are getting purged out. And it's like, okay, you're just happy and secure and safe enough that you can be with all of this stuff that's coming up, and you can release it so that you can be more intentional, more grounded, more present, and also more trusting. Like God just whispering to me that night, did you think I wasn't here? And here, and here. And when you feel this way, I'm here. And it's an external force and it's an internal force. And you can take deep comfort in both of those. God is within her, she shall not fall. That is my theme verse somewhere in the Psalms for this year. God is within her, she shall not fall. I have to text that to Mia. She was my Pluto friend, telling me, you externalize God too much. And it's like, well, how about this one? This is a little U-turn, using scripture to U-turn back in myself. God is within her. She shall not fall. Okay, have a good day. Thanks for listening.